an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Hey Leo, is that you?
Hey Sean, it's Renee here. Just want to let you know I'm here.
Oh, perfect, buddy. I'm gonna switch over to my phone in a second here.
Okay, cool, man. I'm just doing a quick sort of pre-meeting here at my condo, but I'll be on. All right.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Hey Sean, it's Leo.
How you doing, Leo?
All right, buddy.
Good, good. Renee, he's on the call here as well, so I guess we'll make him the presenter whenever he's ready.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect.
Where's the volume though?
It's the volume is at peak because that's the one we talked to you from. So it's waiting for how to handle objections now.
It's that peak?
Yeah.
Okay. Renee, can you hear me?
Has she started?
The mind they're
Not
making.
yet.
Yeah, I'm here, guys. Just doing a quick
Because
training here.
usually
Yeah.
on this computer, or you have your own login.
Yeah, no, I'm logged in, but just can you hear me, Renee?
Yes, I can hear you, buddy.
Hi Sean, this is Leo. I think Renee was on mute. Oh, there you go.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
Good. How are you, Sean?
Good, good.
I need to get something for you.
Just the volume is low.
No,
I was trying to find where the volume button is. Okay. You can hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. And the volume is in low on this side, but as long as you can hear me. So
Yeah, I can hear a little bit of background noise, but I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, no, for now, but we'll shut the door. We just have some people here in St. Lucia. But we'll shut the door when Reza's ready.
All right.
All right, I'll mute for now.
Hey, Leo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You want to do me a favor, but I just realized, can you make me an organizer just in case there's questions or comments? I could read them to Renee and Reza at the end.
Yeah, I'll make you organizer right now.
Just doing that right now, Sean. Made you an organizer.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, buddy.
No problem.
Hey, Leor.
Hey, Renee.
Oh, that's I want to mute. Yes.
Hi, Leor.
That's Gary, by the way.
Ready to join to my phone or just? No, it's okay. We can just watch it through here. I don't think there'll be slides anyway, right?
Yeah, there are
Is there a
slides.
slide?
Yeah, there's slides. Yeah.
Technical lang po kasi iba yung tipong kahit ako may I learned not everything, you know, because we're just started and we as we
Hey, Renee, do you have the PowerPoint there?
18.
Hey, bro. Yeah, I have the PowerPoint. Just making some last minute quick things here. In the slide.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
So.
Oh, you buy it online. Oh, yeah. Just go. I'll show you. And the payment is just.
Is Reza there, guys?
Yeah, Reza and Sean are there. They're just muted right now.
Okay.
Hi, Renee, Sean.
Hey, Sean, what's up, bro?
Good. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. A long day.
He's just outside, so he'll be in a minute.
Okay. Because I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll cover the main objections we usually hear, and then we'll let people ask their objections they got, like a Q&A.
Okay. Hold on.
So that'll be
Reza. I'll have Reza come in and just chat with you, Renee. So
okay, cool.
Not sure webinar on here. Okay.
Yes.
No, Renee just wanted to ask you something.
Okay. Hi, Renee.
Hey, Reza, how are you, man?
It's very low res.
It's very low.
Which one am I on? Am I on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Renee.
Hey, Reza. So really quickly, I think we'll just fly through the most sort of common objections we always get, like on the PowerPoint, and then we'll leave it, like you said, for the Q&A at the very end, for people to ask their questions or share their objections.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
We'll do what we got to do, then we'll leave the last few minutes for question and answers, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
why don't I just start off each slide, and you can just add, like once you see the points on the PowerPoint, then you can just add, more of your points after each, like after I go through them. So that way you can actually see what's on the slide. Does that make more sense? Hey, Reza? And anyone hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Renee.
Yeah, because I'm just worried that, because it's like point by point.
I don't know what happened to Reza's sound, but I can just hear you right now, Renee.
1 second.
Okay.
There we go. I think we got to go now.
Speak now, Renee.
Hey there.
All right, very
There you
good.
go.
Awesome.
Did you add? No.
Good.
Register. Are we just gonna mute on this side, Renee?
Okay, I'm gonna go on mute here as well too. All right.
Okay.
Hey, Renee, it's Leo. Are you going to launch the webinar when you're ready?
Hey, buddy. Yep, I'm going to launch the webinar. So is Reza ready to go?
I'm not sure, but I would imagine so.
Great. Okay. Well, I'll show my first screen anyways, and then so the screen should be. Well, you know what? I'll start the broadcast. Who's going to be hosting us? Is it Sean?
Yeah, it's Sean Singh.
Okay. Maybe you can.
Hi, Renee. Reza's coming. Just 1 second.
Okay, man. I'm ready to go here.
What's your internet? My phone might die.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
Renee.
Reza's here.
Just in case.
Okay, so I'm gonna start the broadcast now.
Sounds good, brother.
Okay.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, GWT family. My name is Sean Singh. I'm an ambassador and shareholder with Global Wealth Trade. And it's my absolute pleasure to bring on a couple of gentlemen tonight with an unbelievable topic. I can see the lines are just getting jammed up as we speak here, and the attendees list is growing exponentially. For the simple fact, this is, you know what, one of the topics that it's one of the most beloved. It's something that we tune into every time it's here. It's about handling objections. And you know what? It's something we face in our business on a daily basis here. And you know what? Just in time. And of course, we have no other than two incredible gentlemen. You can literally call these two the ultimate dynamic duo. You know, we've always said it. If you've ever wanted to be a millionaire, it's probably a good idea to be mentored and tutored by some of the millionaires, you know, in the world. And here we have two of them joining us here tonight. They were both recognized as part of the Millionaires Club. We have National Ambassador Mr. Reza Mesgarlu, who is, of course, a two-time President's Cup Award winner, and, of course, a Regional Ambassador and President's Cup Award winner, Mr. Rene Liel. These folks were recognized as part of our MLM Superstars at the convention about a month ago. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to keep this any further. I've got my pen, I've got my paper ready here. I'm ready to take some notes. So why don't we bring on, of course, Rene Liel and Reza Mesgarlu. Gents, do we have you on the line?
Yes, I am, Sean.
Hi, Sean. It's
How
Renee.
you doing, Reza?
Yes, Renee, go ahead.
Okay, well, thank
Awesome. You know what? We got Renee there on the line, too. So you know what, gents? We got Renee Liel from Toronto, and Reza, I believe you're all the way in St. Lucia. So, you know, it's a pleasure to have you folks on this call tonight. Take it away, guys.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Sean. And if I do sound echoey, let me know. And I can't plug in my headset here, but are you having any echo there, Sean, or are you all good there on your side?
You know what? There's a little bit of echo, but it seems to be going away.
Okay, well, I will be plugging in my headset anyhow. And again, I want to say thank you very much for the amazing hosting, Sean. And what a pleasure it is for me to be training with, of course, our #1 top earner of the company, Mr. Reza Mesgarlu. And for tonight's topic, handling objections, it's one of the funnest topics that me and Reza love to train, you know, all the time. And, you know, we want to make sure we get through as much as possible. So the format for tonight, we're going to share with you guys really quickly some of the mindset when it comes to handling objections. And then, of course, after that is to share with you guys some of the most sort of commonly objections that we get in the field and how we effectively, very quickly, and again, effectively handle those objections. And then, of course, at the very end, allow us to open up the calls for Q&A for people to ask their questions or maybe even share with us some of their objections they've gotten before and want to get our feedback on how to handle those objections. So getting started right away, there are some truths about handling objections that you want to make sure that you write down and just have it in your mind, because once you understand the truths about handling objections, it becomes very fun and very easy when it comes to, again, handling or basically discussing these objections. And the first thing is that objections are simply, okay, unanswered questions. So again, objections are just unanswered questions. So know this, if you ever get an objection or what it might feel like to you as an objection, in most cases, it's not really an objection. It's just a question. And I love getting objections because it means that I have something to work on. I know what I can focus on with that prospect. If you don't get any questions, you don't get any objections, that's when either they're going to be joining you because they have no other questions, or something is sort of being held back and they're not sharing with you what that is. And again, I know that for Reza, I mean, so many times he's, through the training we've done before in the past, he also understands the importance of really just getting those questions out from your prospects. So, and again, when it comes down to people with not why they're not asking you those questions, it's simply because sometimes your prospect might be intimidated. They might be scared to ask you that question. They might feel that it's not polite, or it might be awkward to ask you that question. So that's where when you have built proper like and trust, and you sit down with your prospect afterwards, you want to make sure you can have them sort of open up with you, and again share with you their questions. And again, the reason why people uh, don't join is simply due to a lack of knowledge, or or they're just scared. And a lot of times, being scared or having fear is a direct cause from the lack of knowledge. So, for example, if I ask you, do you want to invest in real estate? You might be scared at first, but once you learn and you acquire an amount of knowledge when it comes to real estate, then your fear goes down because you become more knowledgeable. So again, a lot of times, again, these questions that people don't want to ask, or their objections, is arising because of a lack of knowledge. And our job is to make sure that we educate those people and give them the proper amount of knowledge. And of course, the main thing is be pleasantly persistent to get past no. When you're sort of working with your prospect, don't feel like you have to sort of argue with them. You never want to argue against your prospect, because even if you win the argument, you still lost. So if you ever try to win an argument against your prospect, don't ever do that, because in the end, you actually still lost, because now they're unhappy because you won the argument, and you didn't get a new LC because they're not happy about that. So the key is to be pleasantly persistent to getting past the no's and to get to the questions. And lastly, of course, is to not create unnecessary objections. So sometimes, I'm sitting down with one of my team's prospects, and that prospect has some questions, and and because me and Reza and all the other top trainers are trained to know how to handle these objections, we know where we're going with our discussions. But sometimes the member, the LC who brought the prospect, for some reason they end up getting excited about something, or they want to share something, and they end up adding more questions or more unnecessary objections for the prospect. So sometimes the LC does the wrong thing and basically intervenes and adds something that actually ends up creating more concerns on behalf of the LC. So if you ever have an experienced upline with you there during closing time, you want to make sure that you let them do the work, because they're very highly trained. I know that Reza, again, is a master when it comes to closing, and I know that Reza has a lot of points as well to add to the truth about handling objections. So Reza, are you there with us?
Well said, Renee. It's very, very important to make sure you get all the questions answered. And also, another thing is there's a fine line between looking surprised than looking kind of like offending the prospect by your reaction. Being surprised is one thing. When they ask you a question and you can look like you're surprised that they're asking the question, followed by some facts, and or rather than making them feel like that's kind of a ridiculous question, having that look on your face that's kind of ridiculous, and making the guest feel uncomfortable. So yes, you got to make sure you do look surprised if the question seems to be something that does not apply, but you got to do it in a subtle way that you're surprised at asking a question based on the facts that you have to present, rather than making them feel like that was a pretty stupid question. You want to make sure they don't get that feeling that they just asked you a dumb question. So they're very, very, very important. There's a fine line between that.
Alrighty, and of course, moving right along here as well too, and talk in terms of the mindset when it comes to getting past the no. You have to understand that for most consumers, 60% of consumers will actually say no 4 times before making a purchase. So again, a very important key to understand here, folks, that 60% of consumers will say no 4 times before making a purchase. In fact, if I ask all of you guys on the call tonight, everything that you've bought from the day you're born till today, when the first time you had that idea of buying that thing, you actually said no. So everything that you own today, at some point in time in your life, you initially said no. But over the course of a period of time, maybe you acquired more knowledge about that thing, you eventually said yes, right? So everyone initially almost says no, but at least about 4 times before making a purchase. So my point here is that if you are not getting your prospect to sign up, or at least when they're leaving, they're thinking heavily of signing up, then that only happened because you gave up too soon. Because if you did a good enough job trying to really find out what's that main point that's on your prospect's mind, because I've seen some people have a prospect tell them, well, you know what, I don't think it's for me. And they accept that as an objection. They accept that as a reason why they shouldn't join. But to me, that is not an acceptable reason why you should not join. I've heard things like, I'm just not interested. Again, no, that to me is not a valid reason why someone should not join. So what is it that you're not interested about? Is it in making money, having more time, saving on taxes? There's gonna be something here that interests a person. So you want to make sure that you are persistently trying to dig out what's the core. So imagine an apple. You want to peel back the layers, or orange peel. You want to keep on peeling those layers until you find the core reason why they are not joining or what's holding them back. And of course, I've seen Reza so many times in action where he's just so persistent. The word gentle is an interesting word because he is gentle, yet he's firm. So I should say, gentle, firm persistence, right? So where, you're not taking silly objections as a reason. So don't ever, because the second you ever fully entertain or agree to someone's excuse, then you've lost the deal. So for example, the other day, I was with someone, and they said to me, beside me, well, Renee, when I look at a business, I want to make sure that I look at all the details before I join. And that's why in the past 4 years, I never joined a business because I want to make sure that I do all the research. And to me, what that's telling me is that, well, hold on, if I show her GWT when we're done, maybe she wants to look at all the details and not join right away. So instantly, to me, that's not a valid reason to want to know more details. So I told her, I said, Jane, for example, Jane, to me, you still should have joined one of those companies in the past 4 years because you would have got your tax savings. So that way, you want to make sure you don't entertain things that are not of a valid reason. And again, consumers want to buy, they just don't want to be sold. And people, when it comes to business, they want to have a business, but they don't want to be pushed into one without understanding the benefits for them. So now, Reza, I know you have a lot of points you want to add to this, so please take away, Reza.
Well, there's basically, like what you said is you gotta have, like one of many of our trainers, you always say, have 2 ears, 1 mouth, and do ask a lot of questions and do listen for what it is that the prospect is actually telling you. And in many of the cases, you can sum it up to a handful of things. And if you can target what it is that the real objection is, you can always move towards that. You want to make sure you pay attention to earlier on in the conversation, whether is it a money issue, is it that the possibility of them thinking, is it for them, is it something they can do? It's a great company, great opportunity, great products, but people most often have a question in their mind: is it something that I can do? They won't tell you that because they don't want to make it look like they're not capable, but it's something that I can do. They'll be thinking that to themselves. So by listening carefully and constantly and trying to cater to that question is where you want to be at. Imagine if someone's concern is only the money part, the finances, in order to get started, but you keep pushing on other areas. Oh, it's great products. Everybody wants these products, and all of a sudden creating a different objection for the prospect when that's not what they were saying. All along, they're trying to tell you. They're not telling you, but if you ask enough questions, most likely it's a money issue for them. It's not the product issue. It's not the opportunity issue. Or most likely the objection for them is, can they do it? Is where you want to be catering to. This is where you want to be answering and having a conversation surrounding. So yes, listening, asking questions, very, 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 very important to overcoming objections.
And definitely very well said there, Reza. And sometimes it's funny because I know that sometimes when I'm closing, the person has like 10 objections, and they'll tell you all 10 back to back to back. And when that ever happens, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you can handle each objection one at a time. So a lot of times when I'm doing closing, I actually have a notebook or piece of paper with me. So as that person's talking, if they're talking a lot, they have a lot of things to share with you, I'm actually writing down point by point what is their objection one at a time. And there comes a time when, if I know that they have more than one objection that they're sharing with me, I'll actually cut them off and say, well, you know what? Why don't we handle each one question at a time, so we can move on one at a time? Because if they give you all 10 at one time, then it's going to be really tough for you to be able to remember all 10. So you want to do one at a time, basically. So again, on our next slide here, I love this. We call them the 3Ds of handling objections. So the 3Ds of handling objections. And what that basically is the first one's determination. Second one is your dialogue, and the third one is delivery. Okay, so 3Ds. And determination means just being, again, that gentle persistent in getting past a no, and determination in dealing with the objection. So don't try to avoid and not answer the question or try to change topics. You want to make sure you address the objection dead on, right on the head. Okay, dialogue simply means, and today's training, and we're getting to that, is to share with you guys what dialogue to say when you get an objection. So what to say when someone says to you an objection, like, I don't have time, I don't have money. What do you say? The dialogue, we're going to teach you that later on. And the third part is delivery. Because a lot of times, it's funny because two different people can say the same things, but it's how you deliver that message. So if you sound frustrated, or if you sound like you're upset or you're pissed off about that objection, but big no-no, right? You can't be pissed off because your prospect gave you an objection, right? So how you deliver that dialogue, that message, is also very, very important as well too. And moving quickly right along, I know that Reza always talks about, even before you get started handling objections, you want to establish your belief and what he calls a tripod of belief. So Reza, can you please share with the audience tonight, the tripod of belief?
Sure can. Basically, guys, there's three areas to our belief system when it comes to our business, when it comes to this industry, and so on. And we got to be concrete into all three areas. Imagine you go to face objections, but you're not really sold on it or concrete on it yourself. It's not really exactly the way you want to be, handling your business. And the three areas that you want to be concrete on is the industry. I know a lot of people are not clear about their own industry. And if you're not sure about this industry, you're not clear about this industry, you want to make sure you do your due diligence, make sure you do your research. It's all free and available for you online. Okay, read some books, understand about this industry. It's a very powerful industry. Okay, this is the reason why I'm in this industry, is the industry itself. Okay, the next one is about your company. You want to make sure you know about your company, where they're coming from, where they've been, where they are today, how they've been experiencing over 300% growth the first quarter of this year. You want to know all these. You want to know where the products come from, what's so special about your products, and so on and so forth. People in your company, people driving this company, the leaders, the corporate team, all that. You need to be concrete on that. And the last one is yourself. You got to make sure that you believe in yourself. You got to make sure that you know that this deal, you're going to make it happen. It's going to work for you, and you believe in yourself that you can do it. You got to have that belief in all those three areas. If you're concrete in all those three areas, the worst thing can happen to you is when you're trying to face objections is telling them, you know what, that's a good question, but I don't have the answer for it. But you know what, I can find out. I'll find out the answer for you. You don't need to fabricate any stories. You don't have to make up anything. You can just basically say, I'll get back to you. If you're concrete in these three areas, It doesn't matter what happens, you're going to succeed. And all those SWs, it's not, basically what it stands for is some will join your business, some won't. So what next? Or in Renee's case, someone's waiting somewhere, something like that. Either case, it doesn't matter what happens, okay? This is where the 3 areas you want to be concrete on. Back to you, Renee.
Thank you very much. And again, unfortunately tonight we can't cover and help you tonight in terms of making your belief strong in these 3 areas. So if you don't have the belief in the industry, the company, or yourself, what you want to do then is start picking up some books. You're going online and reading about why this industry of direct selling is so powerful. It's the only last free enterprise for the average person to make a financial home run. About the company, this company is by far the best company in the whole entire world, and I know that. And if you don't have that same belief, it's time to get educated by attending boot camps and so forth, and being on these company trainings. And lastly, the hardest part is belief in yourself. If you don't have that belief in yourself, then what you're going to require is some personal development. Spend some time reading some books, Think and Grow Rich, how to win friends, influence people, right? So you want to become confident about yourself and have some time spent on PD or personal development as well. But moving right along here, when it comes to handling objections, here's what you want to do is you want to learn what's called the 3 Fs. And before I get into the 3 Fs, I want to actually just backtrack really quickly and share the 3 Es, because you have to have the 3 Es when you're handling objections. And the 3 Es are, number 1, energy, enthusiasm, excitement. Because if when you are handling objections and you're addressing someone's concerns, if you don't have good energy, if you don't have the right enthusiasm or the excitement about the business, which comes from the belief, the tripod of belief, then it makes it very hard for you to be able to close your prospect. Okay, so 3 E's again are energy, enthusiasm, and excitement. And now for the 3 F's, what the 3 F's stands for is it's a technique on how to handle an objection. So it doesn't matter what the person says. It could be I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't wear jewelry, it's not, whatever that thing might be. One technique to handle the objection is to use a feel, felt, found technique. So what you want to do first is you want to say, so if someone said to me, Renee, I don't have much time, I'm worried that I don't have time for the business, I would basically say, well, you know what, Gary, I know how you feel. I felt that way before, but what I found out was blank. So what's happening is that when you're telling someone, I know how you feel, and only use this technique, by the way, if the objection or the excuse is actually somewhat of a real reason, right? If someone says to me, that it's an objection that doesn't, there's one of those, it's one of those pyramid things, or you don't want to use this, you don't want to agree with a silly objection. But if it's a valid objection, like I work long days from 9 till 7, I don't know if I have the time for this business, then you want to use the technique and say, I know how you feel. I felt that way before because when I was a programmer at TELUS, I was working from 9 a.m. till about 6 p.m. And of course, we had overtime, which was not paid for. So I know how you feel. But what I found out was, and so this is the general technique on what you want to say when someone gives you an objection. Now, in terms of the dialogue on what to say, we're going to cover that on the next slide right away. So Reza, getting right into the objections and, of course, how to handle these objections. The first objection that we have for today that's very, very common, again, is I don't have time. And, Reza, I'll let you start off first with this objection here on how you handle it when someone says to you, I don't have time. And we have some examples here on the slide, but again, Reza, just share with us what you usually do. Thank you.
Well, when someone says I don't have time, basically I tell them, you know what, I understand exactly what you mean. That was me 5 years ago. I had time for nothing. That's why I needed to see this business. That's why I'm glad I saw this business. And more importantly, that's why I'm glad I did make the time to go see this business, because today I have all the time. I know what you're talking about. Always trying to understand, come from a point of view to turn that objection into a positive thing. When they say they don't have time, say, you know what, I know exactly what you mean, because I was in the same shoes as you. And that's why you really need to see this, so you can learn how it's possible to have all the time that you actually don't have right now in a very short future. Then I share with them quickly a little bit about what I did, what I used to do, and what I do today. And I share a couple other examples of some other people, depending on the individual that I'm speaking with, depending on what they do and where they're coming from, and what it is that you don't have time. Then I make sure I use a couple other examples of some other LCs, preferably if I can get them in place or have them on a three-way about what happened to them as well as everyone else and why we have time today. So that's basically one way I go about it. And back to you, Renee.
All right, thank you very much. And I have a perfect story because it was just this past, I think Friday or Saturday, I was in the office, and someone told me again, Renee, I don't have any time. And hers was actually more of a valid reason because she was working really long hours, and she was worried that she doesn't have the time to always be with us to do the meetings for a prospect. So I told her, I said, you know what? The beautiful thing about working with this company is you have people who are here to support you. You have X and X and so who's full-time. They can help you do tours for your prospects. So you don't have to be there. If you're busy, we can meet your prospects for you. Now, of course, we always suggest that you're there with us whenever possible. But if you can't because you're really busy, you have a great support team. We're here to help you. That's the first thing I said. The second thing I said was, honestly, so-and-so, if you don't, I don't know many people who are multi-millionaires who are just bored. I don't know multi-millionaires who are just bored, one day at home doing nothing and all of a sudden want to go make money. Most multi-millionaires or billionaires were already busy. I think we can all agree to that, right? Most millionaires and billionaires aren't bored people at home doing nothing all day long. They're already busy people, but they want to make more money. So the short answer is that people find ways to make it happen. For example, if you look at that, on this call tonight, we have over 300 people on this call tonight. And and probably with gatherings and groupings, probably well over 500. But do you think that everyone on this call tonight is just bored? That we have all the time in the world, we're all low, there's just absolutely nothing else to do better with our time than to be on this call? No, everyone's busy. And so the reality is that the ones who make the multi-million-dollar incomes are the ones that make it work. They learn how to prioritize. You have to prioritize what's important in your life. And after I said that was the second thing I said was, I don't know a lot of millionaires who were just bored. I wasn't bored when I joined this company. I was already busy, right? And the third thing I said was, if you don't have time right now, what makes you think you'll have more time later on? So what you've been doing for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you don't have the time to do this business, to make yourself rich, to leave a legacy for your family. What makes you think you'll have more time in the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? And when I say that, one tip I always do, one little trick, guys, is you open your eyes as big as possible. So you say to them again, if you don't have time now, what makes you think you'll have more time 20 years from now? And then you pause, and you open your eyes, and you wait. And next thing you know, the person you're staring at will feel so, not silly, but they'll start nodding their head. Like, you know what? You're right, Renee. And I say, you know what? Gary, whatever the name is, you need this business. I push the sign-up form right in front of them. Let's get started. Let's change your life. Simple enough, right, guys? Very simple, right? So again, when it comes to people talking about not having much time, just know this, all right? Because sometimes you don't know if what they're saying is actually true or not. I can tell you this, the average Canadian spends almost like 15 hours or more a week watching TV. And you may not think that you watch TV, every night during the weekdays, but you make up for it on Sundays. So a lot of people watch TV, they browse the internet, they're on Facebook, going through people's profiles. A lot of time is being wasted, right? Prioritize your business. So a lot of times I'll ask a person, I'll ask them, well, how much time do you spend doing things that aren't really important for your future? From the late Jim Rohn, if what you are seeing, hearing, or talking about doesn't put you further towards your financial goals, then why are you doing those things? Why are you saying these things? Okay? So again, I find sometimes handling objection, you can just make comments like this, like, I never met a rich person who's just bored. Or, if you don't have time right now, what makes you think you'll have more time 20 years from now? but you're doing it from like a caring point of view, not from like a being a jerk point of view, so to speak, right? You're doing it from a caring but sort of a educational point of view as well too. So moving on, of course, to our next objection that, when I get this one, I love the way that Reza deals with it. And this is this one of those pyramid schemes or pyramid things or scams or the things where, the guy that taught me the most money? So Reza, please share with us, how do you handle objection when someone says to you, it's one of those pyramid things? As if they, again, this we don't want to get anymore because you gotta be insane to ask this question after seeing all the accolades from the company, but occasionally we still get them. Reza, take it away, my friend.
Well, I've never had someone tell me, is it a pyramid or a scam in the same sentence. Usually they ask me, is it one of those pyramid things? And when they say that to me, and I'm like, pyramid, like, what do you mean? I have this dumb look on my face, like, what do you mean by that? And one of those pyramid things, and I'm like, no, explain please, because I don't know what you're talking about. At this point, they're gonna say, okay, never mind. Go ahead, tell me what it is. I'm like, no, but you said, like, then I don't let them off the hook that easy. I'm like, no, because you said that. I don't know exactly what that means though. He goes, oh, never mind. Just there were some companies that people at the top make all the money, at the bottom. I says, no, actually, you know what? It is a direct sell company. It's a company. It's direct sales. We've been around since 2005, and basically we do business in 80 countries. And basically, you can join today and make the same money as me today, even though I joined a few years before you. So here is actually, you have an opportunity. You can join today and doing more than what I've done or other people done in the business and make more money than us. So I tell them right away, I have that look on my face. I don't know what they're talking about. And usually they drop it. But if they continue on by saying anything about, well, those pyramids, that this and that, I'm going to say, well, you know what? Everything's in the shape of pyramid. So please explain to me, what do you mean by that? Your job is in the shape of pyramid. Your government is in the shape of pyramid. So what kind of pyramid are you talking about? And if they do come up with a scam or illegal or something in regards to that, then I take offense to it. I said, so are you implying that I'm involved with something that's not legal? They kind of at that point, well, no, I'm just, I said, well, what do you mean by that? Are you saying that I'm in something that's illegal? And at that point, usually you killed it right there in a good way. And if you need to, if the conversation continues on, then you got to let them know, says, listen, are you aware that this industry has been around since the 50s and beyond? You understand? I give them a couple of examples of a lot of big companies that are actually using direct sales to do business. And when I use these names, all of a sudden the eyes light up. It's like they didn't know these other companies were direct sales. They thought these other companies were legal something, and this other stuff that they have in their minds is illegal something. So all of a sudden they said, do you know about this company? Do you know about this individual, Bill Clinton, Warren Buffett, Donald Trump? Do you know about this and that? All of a sudden, at that point, they kind of get it. So I tell them, you know what? I don't blame you for not understanding it. It's just a lot of people haven't taken the time to educate themselves about this industry. Yet they've been supporting it all their life. And after I've named a few companies.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there with Reza's line. I'm just going to quickly just put that on mute because there's some static coming through. And of course, hopefully you can mute yourself there, Reza. It got really static. We couldn't hear you whatsoever. But, definitely right on the ball there. I love the fact that, when I get that objection, to show the real story, I think it was Michael Davidson who I was talking with at the office the other week. And he was saying that when someone asks him, is one of those pyramid things, he looks really, really confused. He's like, what do you mean by that? Or like, what are you talking about? And the guy said to Michael, well, it's one of those things, it's those pyramid things. And Michael was like, he looked dumb. He looked like confused, like, what are you talking about? And then, and in the end, the guy actually said, you're gonna make me look really dumb, aren't you? So he realized he said a dumb thing. And, if someone actually, like what Reza said, is trying to, psychologically speaking, if someone, if someone ever tells you, or asks you, it's one of those pyramid things, I've seen some people respond by saying, well, according to definition on Wikipedia or the dictionary of blah, 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 a pyramid scheme is the following. That is actually, although it's educational, it's the wrong way to handle the objection. Because if someone ever tells you, they're almost attacking your credibility. If someone calls you a thief and says, you're a thief, you don't go and say, well, according to Wikipedia's definition of a thief is someone who does, you don't do that, right? If someone calls you a thief, you say, what did you call me? Right? So psychologically speaking, understand that, okay, if they're just saying it because they heard some other silly thing, again, what we just taught you, look confused, look stunned, it'll take care of the objection. But if they're trying to imply something illegal about you, you really want to make sure that you're not nice about that, okay? So I believe we do have Reza back. And again, folks, when I just tell someone, look, I'll actually ask someone, are you for real? Are you serious, that question? Because we're on the front cover of the American Business Journal, the Canadian Business Journal. We've got accolades from, Canadian Jeweler, and the list goes on and on. We've been worn by celebrities all over the world. And that usually just kills that objection, okay? And again, one time someone asked me, it's one of those, they kept going on about those pyramid things. I said, well, do you mean where someone at the top makes the most money? He says, well, yeah. I said, well, do you mean my old job at TELUS? Because my old job at TELUS, my manager made more than I did. The director above him made more money than the manager. The VPs made more money than the directors, and so forth, right? And the CEO made the most money, okay? So moving on to the next objection here is, I don't know how to sell, or I'm not in the selling business. So someone who's thinking that they have to sell, they can't sell, or I'm not good at selling, I hate to pressure my friends into whatever it might be. Reza, I know you're back. Go right ahead and take it away, my friend.
Okay, thank you. We just had a little glitch here, but it's all good. When someone says, I don't know how to sell, I'm not in the selling business, I tell them, you know what? I know exactly how you feel. I don't know. I'm not a seller either. I'm not a salesman either. And if it was about me just selling to make money, I wouldn't be in this business today. And right there and then, that objection's gone. Okay, so this guy just told me, in order for him to still be in this business, if it was about just selling, he wouldn't be in this business today either. He's not a salesman either. That's when, you got their attention. That's when you got them to open the ears, and they're going to think, like, at this point, okay, what did I miss? All along, I was under the impression that I need to be selling to make money, but now he's telling me he knows exactly how I feel, and he's not a salesman either. That's when I use usually a story. I usually, first of all, I share with them that there's 8 different ways of earning income. Right away. I said, remember the part of compensation plan? There are 8 different ways of making money. So it doesn't really matter if you're not good at selling. It doesn't really matter if you're not a salesman, and so on and so forth. There are 7 other ways of revenue streams. And most importantly, how you can earn your big income is, I usually use this example of a sales manager. I ask him about, have you ever gone to buy a car? And when you walk into the showroom, looking at the car, you see all these salespeople running around. They're like, yes. I says, and you know what happens when these salespeople make a sale? What happens to them? He goes, well, they make a commission. I said, you're right. But if they didn't sell any cars, they wouldn't make a commission, right? He goes, you're right. I said, well, okay, that's a salesman. Their direct income comes from selling vehicles. In our and within that same building, if you notice, sometimes when you're putting a offer for a vehicle, these salespeople cannot answer you. They tell you, I'm going to go ask my manager and I'll be right back. They go behind these dark glasses, speaking to someone that you cannot see. Then they come back and say, my manager said, okay, we'll go with this much, so that way they can sell you the car. They say yes. I say, okay. The salesman, the sales manager in the background does not sell anything himself personally. But these salespeople on the floor that are running around selling the vehicles, these salespeople get paid on each sale they make. The sales manager gets paid on all of them. The sales manager, he's his sales team, so he makes his team commission on all of these salespeople. He personally does not sell anything, but he's great at managing a team. So therefore, he gets a cut on each salesperson. And for some reason, it turns out to be that he makes the most money, even though he didn't sell any cars. So at this point, they understand that. They go, oh, really? I say, yeah. So you may not be good at retailing, but you're going to have people in your team that are going to be good at retailing, and because they're part of your team, you receive a healthy commission on all of these sales that's happening within your organization. Then I share with them there's other ways of earning income, but that right away gets them to overcome the objection of having to be a salesman to sell these products and make money. Back to you, Renee.
All right, thank you very much, Reza. And I mean, again, really quickly, it comes down to just having that mentality mindset, right, guys? Where, for me, I would not be in this business if I felt that I had to sell someone something. I don't like to be sold. I don't like to sell someone anything. But for me, I like to share with people what I found value for myself. So, I'll use the whole feel, felt, found, and so I know how you feel. I'm like you. I don't like to sell. In fact, if I had to sell, I would be in this business. But what I found out was the biggest benefit for me in this company was that I was working at TELUS as a programmer, making $80,000 a year income. I was paying a lot in taxes, and for me, I wanted to find a way to be able to have a business to lower my taxes. On top of that, I wasn't married yet, and I wanted to be able to, I love the fact that I could save up money in my IA account towards buying a future wedding ring. But also, I knew that I actually wanted to be financially wealthy. I didn't want to be doing a job as a programmer for the rest of my life. So I joined because I found value for myself. And I asked myself, do I know someone else who's like me, who has a full-time job or part-time job paying taxes, doesn't have a side business, and who wants to be financially free? And I thought, geez, that's all my friends. So all I did was I simply shared with all my friends one at a time what I was doing and made sure that they got the same attention to answering their questions that I got from the person who's with me. So it's all about sharing, guys, right? And of course, on to the next objection, which is I don't know enough people. Reza, take it away, my friend.
And you know what? Again, I do. When they say I don't know enough people, I'm going to say, what do you mean by that? And they're going to say, well, I just moved over here. Well, where did you live prior to that? Oh, I lived in such and such place or such and such place. I said, well, I have good news for you, my friend. He goes, what's that? I says, you know what? Number one, we're an online business. We can do business anywhere in the world as long as they have telephone lines and internet. That's first thing. Secondly, the beautiful part about our business is basically, all you need is 2 people in your team, okay? All you need is 2 people that are interested in your business, and you could potentially, experience some of these numbers we've been hearing about, that we've been telling you about, some of these numbers we've been showing you, and I use some of the examples again. I mean, I use islands as an example. I use, how Leo picked up and went to U.S. and he's got a massive team being built all over the United States. Talk about Rene, how he just picked up and went to Taiwan and he's building his business from that part of the world. And you know what? It's just examples are, there's countless examples we can use. And the fact that we're a binary system, basically you need 2 people, 2 aces, and you can earn massive income. Basically, that's what it is. And I tell them nonstop that we do all constantly meet people on daily basis. Okay, 2 people that can use extra income? 2 people at the top of your head that could use extra income? 2 people that could, use being at home or staying more time at home and so on and so forth? I use that example, and they'll say, of course. We all know 2 people. I say, okay, well, this is basically, how it goes. And, 2 people, binary, basically can have your business built without, any limitation. So that basically one of the responses I give. Back to you, Renee.
All right, thank you very much, Reza. And sometimes, again, for me, and even for Reza, because we know how to hear, you have to really listen to what your prospect is saying. Because sometimes, you can tell if what they're saying is one of those, sort of silly nonsense objections or a real reason, right? So if someone just moved to a new country and they don't know anyone, then that might be a valid reason. But if someone just tells you, well, I don't really know anyone, and with that kind of a tone, I know that they have this negative image about something, where they're just giving you some really stupid excuse that they don't know anyone. Because if I go into their phone book or the cell phone, I can guarantee there's at least 300 numbers there, right? So again, in those cases, if someone has that sort of a rude or that sort of negative objection, well, I don't really know anyone, and they kind of want to brush it off, that's where again you have to take more time to establish like and trust, connect with that person, and have them understand that look, I know how you feel. I felt that way before because I didn't want to push my friends to join something that wasn't going to be good for myself. But so what I found out was I did all my research. I got really educated about the company. I realized it's an amazing company, and I thought to myself, do I know anyone out there like myself who could use more time, more money, or investment in silver, tax benefits? Because really, over 95% of the people in Canada, and know this for yourselves, guys, to establish that strong belief in the company, 95% of the population need this business. Why? Because 95% of the population, upon age of 65, which has now changed to age 68 for retirement, will either be dead or dead broke by age 68. And I'm sure that, for most of the callers, people on the call tonight, that you're not part of the 5% that are multi-billionaires. Because otherwise you wouldn't be on this call. All right? So most of you on this call tonight are part of the 95% of the population who are not financially wealthy and will be working till the age of 68. So at the end of the day, when you're dealing with that objection, just know where it's coming from. If it's one of those silly ones, you want to focus more time on having them understand that people actually have value in this company and try to get past that as well too. So moving on to the next objection, it's I don't think this business is for me. And I don't really get that, but of course we have our ways of dealing with that. So Reza, go right ahead, take it away. What do you do if someone says to you, I don't think this business is for me?
Well, that's when I say, you know what? I understand exactly what you mean. I know, I see where you're coming from. I only have one question for you. I say, what part of this business is not for you? The big money or the free time? That's the only thing I want to know. Which part of this business is not for you? Because, either one of the answers is okay with me, just which part of it. And at this point, they're like, well, it's just, at this point, we're going to come with something else. Again, it goes back to the beginning of what it was originally that was on their mind, what their objection was at the beginning of it, whether it's that they didn't have the money, whether it is that they couldn't see themselves doing this business, whether it was that they thought that they got to go sell $1 million worth of jewelry to make $1,000, whether it was that they thought that they had to, I don't know. You'd be surprised at this point when you ask them what part of this business is not for you. The big money or the free time, well, they're not going to say neither one. What they're going to say, they're going to go back to. And you'd be surprised that you thought in your head, in your mind, that you answered that question, and you thought that you overcome their objection, you got past it, but obviously you didn't. I don't know whether your message wasn't clear, whether their mind was somewhere else, whether they're stuck. And some people, they look at you and they shake their head like they're listening, but really they're not, because they're still thinking about what they're thinking, and they completely miss the objection that you answered for them earlier on. So this is where you want to ask, what part of it is not for you, okay? Then what you want to do is basically, if they're not going to give you a clear answer, saying what part of it is that you don't like. You know what I mean? And basically, I quickly, at this point, I have a piece of paper that I've already been drawing on throughout the day, throughout the conversation. I'll tell them, you know what, it's a no-brainer for anyone that I see, whether you're a numbers person or not, it's a no-brainer. The biggest investment, $3,099, 100% tax deductible, or most of it's tax deductible anyways, and you get $10,000 back in overall products that even if it took you a year to sell, you're still doing a massive profit. So I don't understand what part of it is not for you, okay? Is it the money part? Is it, selling part? Is it what part of it? Some people think that, I've had people saying this to me that, well, I have a full-time job. I'm like, I'm waiting for them to say I have 2 full-time jobs. But they're saying, well, I have a full-time job. I'm like, okay. I'm waiting for the rest of it. There's no rest. They think they're one of the very few people in the world that have full-time jobs. You're going to say, well, let me tell you. Not only had a full-time job, I had 2 full-time jobs. And yes, I did make great money, but at the same time, I had no free time. For me, it was not the money part of it. Yes, money is important, but it was free time part of it. But yeah, this is where you want to make sure to ask exactly what it is. The return for investment. Are they under the impression that they got to sell these products to make money? They don't like to sell. Do they think that, this is where you got to hopefully be able to pinpoint of what it is that you could not overcome. So, Renee, maybe you can add your own flavor to it.
Absolutely. And really, this kind of objection is one of those ones where your job is to find out what is a real objection. Because this objection is so generic, it means nothing. Like this objection, don't even accept it as an objection, because there's like a billion reasons that it could be under that layer. And so what you want to do is treat this objection as a non-real objection and try to find out, like what Reza's saying, is it really the time? Is it really, what is it really that's holding them back? All right. Now for the next objection, which is I don't know if this business will work. Again, in short, what I tell someone is if they don't know if this business will work, is, there's only one way to find out. There's really only one way to find out. And we have all of the training to ensure your success. So we have bootcamp trainings, live weekly webinars like tonight to ensure your success. But what I do say is, at the worst case scenario, you still save on taxes. The worst case scenario is you're still up. And even if it wasn't for saving on taxes, but guess what? You want to give yourself that chance to have that financial home run. Because what you've been doing, again, for the past 15 years, you're not financially free today, then you got to do something different. So in any case, what I tell someone is, don't worry about the hows to on how to do this or how to do that. That's all in our trainings. Just commit some part-time hours to the business. There's only one way to find out, but you will get success by, plugging yourself in, at least part-time into this company. So Reza, want to share some more about what you might say if someone says to you, they're not sure if this business will work?
Well, if they tell me I don't know if this business will work, I tell them, well, you know what, my friend, this business is already working. We're already on our 9th year of operation. We're already in 80 countries. We already bought 15,000 LCs. They've already created millionaires. And we have people that are on their way to become millionaires. We have people all over the world changing their life. This business already got third-party accolades, whether it's from the product side, whether it's from the business side. It's happening everywhere simultaneously, and it's happening fast. So the business is already working. So what I want to, then at this point, I'm going to say, your question is, if this business will work for you? And if they say, well, yeah, for me, because I already told them this business is already working, you know what I mean? Now they can't say, well, I just don't know if this business will work in general. Now I just told them, I kind of overloaded them with everything around that they could not say anything about, that they know this business already flourishing and working. Now they're going to say, well, yeah, for me. And at that point, I'll say, you know what? We have support in place. We have training tools in place. We have all kinds of insane things in place to ensure people's success. And the tax saving on top of that, ongoing tax saving on top of that, including the initial investment, it's a no-brainer. And this is basically how I would go about that objection.
All right, much Reza. Again, we don't really get this one much anymore because of all the amazing stories, accolades, and media, around the world. But if you do get that, again, thank you very much, Reza, for sharing with us how to handle that objection. Now, the next one is hilarious, and because when someone says I have no money, for me, really, everyone has money, but if they don't find the value, they're not really understanding the value of their money. So when someone tells me I have no money, I kind of get really quiet and really sort of one-on-one serious with the person. And I'll say, Jody, you spent $499 after $3,099 on things that never paid you before. So I already know that in the last year or this upcoming year, you would have spent at least $499, which is equivalent to silver package, or $3,099, that's equivalent to a diamond package, on something else. It could be food, it could be clothing, it could be shoes, it could be, more hairdos, it could be anything that did not pay you to do it. It's time to prioritize your life and to put money in places that put you further in life. It's time to put money in places, into businesses that get you further ahead. So stop blowing your money and stop wasting your money on things that don't benefit you. What's your favorite store? Oh, it could be Coach. Well, stop going to Coach and buy things from Coach. because it's not going to pay you to do it. And I like to ask the questions. Again, did that thing that you bought, that TV or that PS3 or that bag, did it pay you to buy it? So once you can shift someone's mindset to realize that they are already blowing this money somewhere else, that it actually makes sense to put it into a business. And the other thing I tell people is, if you don't have any money, then you need this business. Because the average Canadian, according to Stats Canada, spends $2,000 a year on buying gifts. So the average Canadian, according to Stats Canada, spends $2,000 a year on buying gifts. And so right now, when you go buy gifts of $2,000, let me ask you a question, and I ask the prospect this, where do you buy your gifts from? And they might say, Fairview Mall or Yorkdale Mall or the Bay. And I'll say, well, so who got rich there then? Who made the money when you went to go buy gifts from the Fairview Mall or Yorkdale Mall or the Bay? And they'll say, well, the Bay or the Fairview Mall. And I'll say, well, does it make more sense then to have a monthly layaway plan of $150, which is the most you have to put in for the maximum commissions in GWT, $150 a month for 12 months. So $150 after 12 months is $1,800 a year, which is less than the average $2,000. But now your gift that you're buying for people, when you buy them Fairy or Posh, is promoting your business. So aren't we correctly now prioritizing where we're putting your money? And don't forget, the $1,800 you're putting in your monthly IA, that's for buying products at the discount price at 50% off. So the value of the $1,800 is really worth $3,600. On top of that, if you look at the diamond package, which is how much? $3,099, you get back $10,000 worth of products. I mean, $10,000 worth of products just paid for your gift shopping for 5 years. Because $2,000 per year times 5 years is $10,000. So if you want to save money, I'll show you how. Buy the diamond package up front. Your gift shopping for the next 5 years is now done for you. On top of that, when you buy gifts for people now, your gift has now become a promotion expense because you're trying to promote your business. Now your gift shopping has turned into a tax deduction. So scenario one is you go to the Bay, you promote the Bay, make the Bay rich. Option two is you save money by buying gifts for yourself or buying gifts for your own business, promote the business, get more product sales, but turn it into a tax write-off. And at that point in time, there's nothing else that person can say to have an objection about money. If you have no money, then what you've been doing for the past 5 years, the past 10 years, the past 20 years, that's led you to your current state today has not been working. And it's time to put your money in places that pay you off, right? And sometimes I ask someone, when's the last time you spent $500 or a total of $500 or something? And they'll think back. Well, I bought shoes last week before that. So total last 2 months, I've already blown $500. So again, it's time to prioritize where to put your money to make yourself rich. So Reza, again, I want to hear you have so many things that you say when someone tells you you have no money. So please go ahead and share with us.
Well, you know what? My style is pretty direct, straightforward. When someone tells me you have no money, I'm going to say, okay, so what do you want to do about it? They kind of look at me a little bit dumbfounded. I said, well, you have no money right now. You keep doing what you've been doing. You're going to keep getting what you've been getting. And right now, at this point, what you're getting is having no money. I said, do you want to change that? You want it to be in a way that you don't have to worry about telling people you have no money. I tell them, you know what? I feel the same. I felt the same way. I didn't have the money. I didn't think that I could, But when I saw what this business could do for me, I needed to get started. And in order for me to get started, get things changed, I needed to come up with that money. So I tell these people, you want life to change, you want to be part of this wonderful business, this opportunity, so you can change lives, not just for you, but the entire family, go and find that money. I did not have the money. I borrowed the money, and today, this is where I am. I don't have to worry about the vocabulary of having no money. I tell them straight and direct and hear them where it's the reality, where it's, wakes them up. I tell them, go get that money. Go borrow that money. I don't know where else in the world you can start an opportunity, start a turnkey business with tens of millions of dollars in inventory, online presence with your online shopping cart and everything that goes with it for $3,100. that becomes tax deductible, $10,000 in returning products, and you can immediately turn that into cash so you can start having money. And so you can sit at it right now so you have no money and let this thing go by you, or you go and borrow the money. Do what you got to do. I tell them straight, I don't know what you got to do. It's for you to know, but do whatever you got to do to come up with the money so I can get going with you so we can start changing your life, changing your future, changing your finances. I can do all of that for you and with you. I will be there to support and do. But what you need to do is get yourself in the business. And at that point, they say, okay, let me see what I can do. And they come up with the money 99% of the time. Back to you, Renee.
Thank you, Reza. You know, and sometimes similar to this objection, someone tells me that, well, I have some debts to pay off, or I have a loan, and I have some debts to pay off. It's the same thing, right? They have no money. And what I show someone is, look, to invest $4.99, or even the retailer, which is $2.49 for the business, if you get back $3,000 to $9,000 a year, let's say you got back $3,249 in tax returns, that means you got back $3,000 of tax returns. So if you're $10,000 in debt right now, it makes sense to invest $249 to have a business, to do your expenses, get back $3,000, and after 3-4 years, you paid off your debt. Because otherwise, if you don't have this business, you're paying taxes and you're still in debt, right? So, you know, there's amazing ways with this business to turn things around so they understand that they actually need this business, and hopefully you got those points taken down. So the next objection here, again, we've already covered this really quickly here, is I need some time to think about it, or I need more time to go home and digest it. And, you know, similarly to the girl who told me that, you know, they want more time, you know, at the brownie party to really do, you know, their due diligence, you know, and I've seen many other previous opportunities, but I never joined because I wanted to have more time to look into all the details. I told the girl, I said, oh, I mean, really, you still should have joined, because the last 4 years when you didn't have a business, you weren't getting those tax savings, you weren't changing your life. You didn't have a business to work on to put yourself further ahead. That's why you're still stuck in the same area you are now that you were 5 years ago. And so, you know, you can ask more questions to really find out what's holding them back. But again, the simple answer is, if you don't, you know, if you, you know, what you've been doing for the last 5 years, again, the last 10 years, taking all your time to think about things, taking your time to analyze, we call it analysis paralysis, it's gone you nowhere. Look, you know, there's absolutely zero risk in this business. It's a free business, literally. So it's time to take action, prioritize your life, take actions, get started here. And again, you know, Reza, I want to hear again what you have to say to people when they tell you, you know, Reza, I need some more time to think about it. What do you say, Reza? Okay, so I think we don't have Reza here, or that's how he basically tells how he handles an objection. He says nothing when someone says to him, I need time to think about it, because it's really a non sort of real objection. But again, if someone tells you they need more time, oh yeah, I think we have Reza back.
Yes, I am. Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. I got basically what I tell them is, okay, well, you need to think about what is exactly you need to think about. You know what I mean? I'm here to answer your question. I showed you all the accolades. I showed you all the progression. I showed you all the benefits. I showed you how you can get started. I told you about the support. And most importantly, I told you how important it is. The time is money, how sometimes days or even hours or even minutes make a difference in who's going to be in whose team. I tell them this company is constantly growing. People are constantly getting in the business. We're in 80 countries right now. Waiting is not, you know, the wisest thing to do. If there is something that you honestly are not sure about, is there something that you're not clear about, ask me right now. We're sitting here right now, so that way I can properly answer your question. There is not much to think about. There's not much risk involved, and basically, you know, you're here with me. Do not be shy. If there is something you want to tell me right now. And, you know, that's all you can do at this point. You know, maybe they'll come and tell you, well, you know what, I just want to get my money together. Or they might say, well, I want to go talk to my partner. Or they might say, I want to go talk to someone else that's supposed to be an expert in what we do. At this point, I catch the mistake and make sure they don't go on trying to explain to some so-called expert about this industry and see what they think about it. If these individuals were experts, they be top earners of some company throughout this world. So obviously they're not experts. These are the sunblocks that they think they're experts. So I want to make sure this individual doesn't get poisoned by this so-called expert. So I make sure I get to know these things before I finish my meeting and conversation with them. But yeah, you want to make sure you ask them straight out what is it they want to think about. Back to you, Renee.
One thing that I love to do when I get that is, I love to show how with a binary system that just by you getting a position, the people above you can put people below you in the system, because most people actually want to join, and if you just show them an example of how, look, if you join today, we had Mary that just joined yesterday. Her two guests are coming in on Monday. If you join now, guess what? They'll be below you. So I like to draw out for myself the team strategy with people to show them how they can get the stacking effect of people above them, putting people below them. And again, what I love to tell someone is, look, you don't have to join Diamond right away. I know you want Diamond. You don't have to join Diamond right away, but what you want to do, and just take my advice on this, is get yourself a position. You can join at the retailer, join at the silver, I usually start at silver. And if they're still not really sort of opening up and want to take silver, then I'll use my retailer as my last sort of, ammunition. You know what? Just join retailer then. It's only $249. It gives you a position in the system. You can bank volume by being on your monthly IA. And again, to invest $249 for the retailer and then get back $3,000 in tax savings, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, right? So, the more time you think about this, if you wait another month to think about this, guess what? You lost out on those tax deductions for the next month. If you wait another week, you lost again those tax deductions for another week. And again, for the past 5 years, if you've been waiting for something to happen to you, you've been missing all of those tax deductions or all that big opportunity for the last 5 years. It's time to get going, join retailers, get started, last name first, first name next, etc., etc. Alrighty, on to the next objection. Which is, I don't like or wear jewelry, or it's a business for females, or it's both. And I love how I handle this one here. But Reza, you first, my friend. Please share with us what you say to someone tell you that they don't like to wear jewelry, or it's a business for females. Again, that was maybe not more of the case long time ago. But today, we have such a huge, vast collection of men's lines. But Reza, take it away, sir. Thank you.
Well, usually at this point, Renee, I tell them, what, you don't like to wear jewelry. First of all, I'll look at them, make sure, if I see a ring or a watch or a bracelet or a necklace of any sort of jewelry that I might see them wearing. First things first. If I don't see them wearing anything, then I say, well, you know what? Doesn't really matter if you like to wear jewelry or not. The fact is that over 87% of the population wears some form of a jewelry. And that's what's important. Do we have clients? Do we have people that would love to buy our products, that would love to use our products, and so on and so forth? And the answer is yes. 87% of the population loves our jewelry. And the other 17 or 13% or whatever it is, buy for the other 87%. So yes, there is a need for our products. There's a want for our products in the market. People want our stuff. And give an example of what's happening with all the other designer brands out there. How fast they've been growing, how much massive profits they're making. The last example I leave them with is the owner of McDonald's, the founder of McDonald's. I'm sure maybe he was not, in love with his own burgers. People who dish out $2.5, $3 million today to buy McDonald's franchises, they're not in love with the McDonald's hamburgers. It just is a turnkey operation. It's an income. It's something that's going to set them. Therefore, they are willing to spend that $3 million to have that one location because they know it makes sense, because the masses love to eat at McDonald's. They do eat at McDonald's, and you know what? This is what makes sense. So for us, same idea. 87% population is wearing some form of jewelry. We have the best of the best. Therefore, it doesn't really matter if he wears jewelry or not. And the fact that they say it's for females, again, that's another myth, because this is in the form of business that's for, we're in the precious commodities. And you know what? Even though a lot of our customers are ladies, it's usually there's men too that do buy a lot of our products, whether it's for them or for the ladies, and vice versa. So it's a myth that this business is for females. I haven't really had too much of this. Actually, I've never been told this, but Renee, maybe you have been, so maybe you can share what you replied by.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I've had not so much this exact objection, but people just tell me that, I'm not really into jewelry. And, what I say to them, very similar to what you were saying, Reza, is I'll tell someone, that, in my own life, I've learned from very, very successful people that it's not about what you like, it's about what the masses like. So in business, you don't go to business because you like something. That's not what you do business for. So same example of McDonald's, right? The owner of McDonald's didn't love burgers that much, probably. But what I say to someone is, I say my own example, which is, I'm not a huge fan of male thongs. I'm not passionate about male thongs. I don't wear male thongs. I don't get excited when I see a male thong. However, if someone told me, Renee, you can make $10 million selling thongs, male thongs, guess what? I'd be the next person importing male thongs and blasting a huge market. Because it's not about what you like, it's about what the market likes, right? And so, and usually, when I hear someone say this, sometimes what they're kind of trying to say is that they're not really passionate about that. And, I've heard some people tell me about this thing where it sounds like they want to do what they have passion for. And I've heard a lot of, again, false trainers or just inappropriate trainers or non-really successful trainers training stuff about, health and wellness, that you have to be passionate about the products to do the business. And to me, that's complete BS, because they're tying you back into this dream job. And I always tell someone, look, you have to separate one thing clearly tonight. Separate what's your dream job and what's your dream. Because they're two different things. Okay, because my dream job, if I could have my dream job would be to travel around the world taste testing food. Getting paid to eat food. I love to eat. I would love to be sent on planes to different countries all over the world and just eat food. That's my dream job. But my dream job won't take me to my dreams. Right? Because my dreams are to have a family, mansion, everything, help people around the world. But that dream job of, flying worldwide, testing food won't make me enough money to take me to my dreams. So you have to start to separate what's your dream job from your dream. And the point is, you have one chance at a life here, one chance at a life. You got to do what you can to leave that legacy behind. And, if you see a huge opportunity, which you can see it, we have at GWT, take it. Get started, silver package, diamond package, let's get you started right away. And usually by that point in time, when they understood now that it's got to separate your personal passion for things versus what's a proper business model with huge potential, then they're going to join you right away as well too. So now sometimes you have some people who tell you, well, I want to go home and talk to my partner or my spouse. I got to talk to my parents. I talk to my mom, my girlfriend. So again, Reza, what do you say when someone tells you that they want to discuss this with their partner or their spouse?
Well, usually, you know what, when I invite someone out, I try to make sure if they're married or if they have a girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife or whatever it is, make sure I get them both out to a meeting. Because I've seen this in the past that one of them they decide to join, and usually if there's people that are married, not so much if they're girlfriend and boyfriends, but if they're married or in-laws, they live together, make sure they both come out to a tour at the same time. But if they do happen to come out alone, then I do, ask a question. You think he or she would oppose you in making more money and helping with the finances at home? And, the answer is, well, no, I think there'll be this and that. And at this point, I'm going to say, you know what, why don't we get you started anyways, and you can bring he or she here tomorrow, and we can sit down and explain to he or she and how they could position themselves as well, so you can both benefit from the work at the same time. And I try to, get them into doing that, getting their commitment and so on and so forth. And if they say, well, it's just she'll kill me if I spend $3,000 without her knowing about this, I'll say, well, you know what? Why don't you just take a smaller package? It does not make a difference later. You can pay the difference and upgrade anyways. Why don't you position yourself from now till tomorrow when you're going to bring he or she out to the meeting? That way you're at least positioned. That way all we have to do is do an upgrade. And it's not a bigger amount, so she's not going to kill you. Or he's not going to get on your case too much. But, usually they're trying to bring both at the same time. And if they don't live together, just girlfriend and boyfriends, I'm going to say, does he or she pay your bills? And the answer is usually, well, no, not really. Okay, then why does it matter what he or she says about what you're going to do about your own future and your finances? So this is basically where I try to get them out initially at the same time. But if it doesn't work out, then at this point, I'm trying to get their commitment at a smaller level if they don't want to commit to a bigger one. And they can bring the partner, and at that point, when the other one sees this opportunity, get them both to commit to a bigger package. So maybe you can share some of your own, Renee.
Again, I love that, Reza, because you hit really down the nail there, which is when I have someone in front of me who's telling me that they want to go home and talk to the husband or wives, I get really serious and I ask the person, you saw this amazing business, you know that you can't lose your money. It's a free business. You're gonna make back money with all the tax savings. You're gonna get $1,000 free products. You already saw that for yourself. So if you went home, because we understand that sometimes when you talk to your husband or your spouse that they don't understand what we saw. So in the event that you went home and your husband or wife, girlfriend or boyfriend said that no, don't do the business, I want to ask you, would you still do it for yourself because you saw it yourself? So I asked them that question even before they go home. So you saw for yourself how it can benefit you in all these ways. Would you still do it for yourself even if they said no? Would you still do it for yourself? And usually they say yes. So now that I've done that, even though they go home and the boyfriend or the husband or wife still says no, guess what? They've already previously in their mind committed yes with me already, even if the husband says no. Whereas if you don't ask that question, they might go home, get a no, and then, I don't want to join. But you've already got the commitment before they went home. Because now they know that they've seen it, and they know that it's going to save them money on taxes, make them get free products, save them money buying gifts for people. They know it makes sense, right? And again, what you want to do is you want to tell a person, look, like what Reza said, hey, to join for $3,000 and get 10 grand of products, that is your gift shopping for the next 5 years, it'll save you $8,000 or $7,000 because you pay 3 grand, you get 10 grand back, and that 10 grand can buy gifts for the next 5 years. You save 7 grand. So as long as that person, you tell them again, you show them that they're actually saving money with this opportunity, and they commit to that yes before they go home, then most likely they're going to join anyways. So join Silver, join Retailer. Just get in now, bring in your husband, spouse, wife tomorrow. And I'd like to share my own story, which is, I joined without telling any of my girlfriends or because I saw it for myself. I know I take charge of my own life. And what's amazing after the last 5 years is I have a table full of silver now, gold and diamonds that I can pass down to my children and my children's children. So hopefully it's with my spouse or your spouse, but if not, at least you have that silver passed down generation after generation. There's no risk here, so why not just do it anyways? And usually they just join at that point in time. And so of course, our next, so we could cover a billion more objections, but it's already getting a bit late tonight. We were supposed to take some time and open up the call for questions or for people to share again their objections or their concerns. And it comes down to, again, folks, 2 words: confidence, enthusiasm. We covered the 3 Ds, we covered the 3 Es, we covered the 3 Fs. That's what you want to have. We've now shown you a lot of the content, the dialogue that you want to have when you're talking to your people. But right now, I know it's getting late. It's such a big topic, and we always have so many things we can cover in this topic. But really quickly here, I'll turn the call back to, of course, our amazing host for tonight, Mr. Sean Singh, to address any more questions. I would love to hear your comment or your feedback. And of course, I want to thank my our co-trainer for today, the #1 earner of the company, of course, only national ambassador of the company, Mr. Reza Masgardu. Thank you so much for being on the call tonight. And of course, I guess, Reza, any last minute words before we turn back to Sean Singh for questions and or comments? Okay, you might be on mute there, Reza, but if not, then we can.
Go ahead, Sean.
Awesome. thank you very much, Rez. You know what? I can hear that familiar sound of you being in the islands over there. It's I wish I was with you there right now. I think a lot of us do there. But you know what, gents? Awesome job. You know what? I love hearing this call. Like every time I see that we're doing a call with handling objections, you know, I just can't get ready for it. It was incredible. And you know what? You guys had me laughing at some points too. Like the I have no money. As soon as I saw that in the big bold letters there, I started laughing. I'm sure everyone else did at the same time here, because it's kind of funny when we think about it that way, but these are, you know, objections that we literally face on a daily basis here with this business. So again, gents, thank you very much for your insight. Ladies and gentlemen, as Renee mentioned, you know what, if you do have any objections that you want to share with us here tonight, you can type them into the chat box, and of course we'll get them read out here. So Renee and Reza, we actually do have one coming in from our diplomat in Singapore, from Kihuat Yao. It's actually a message from one of his members, Joshua Chan, saying, if we come across someone who is not interested in the jewelry at all, how do you make them interested?
Well, basically, what we talked about is they're not interested in the jewelry. Well, that eliminates them as a potential customer. They're not interested in jewelry for themselves. Even that's not even accurate. They can still be a customer in terms of buying for people. They can become a customer still because they can buy it for others as a gift. Because we all know everyone loves to have jewelry in our designer lines as a gift. There's something for someone. There's something for everyone in our product line as a gift. But what we want to do is we want to talk to this individual. It doesn't really matter if you like the jewelry or not. It doesn't really matter if you wear designer goods or not. What matters is this is the products, this is the fab, this is the industry, this is where the generations, old and young alike, are going after. Everybody likes quality designer line products. Everybody likes quality watches and shoes and belts and so on and so forth. And everybody loves to wear them and get paid for wearing them. So it doesn't matter if they don't like jewelry. What matters is the majority of the population want our stuff. And the fact that majority of our population want our stuff is a straight go for it answers why they should join this business, because majority of people want our stuff. Majority of people will buy our stuff, and therefore, because the majority want it, they can be very successful by joining this business, by earning in this industry, in this company. So there goes their objection out the wall. Doesn't matter if they like it or not. Majority do. They make money out of the majority. So it's very straight, simple, forward.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rez. You know what? We have actually Nando from Toronto saying, great call, gents. A lot of great information. Thank you. And the next comment he had was, I've had someone tell me that they are afraid of hearing no. So how would you deal with that?
Well, you know what? You got to go through the no's to get to the yeses. So what's there to be afraid of? Someone just say no? Okay, no problem. Next. That's my attitude. If I was so worried and focused on the no that I would think that they're going to say no to me, then I would never get to the yeses. It's like fear of flying. I hate flying. But because I've done enough time, I couldn't even care the worst of turbulences. You know what I mean? I see traffic jams. A little tiny little bump in the sky used to scare me. Now I got all kinds of craziness happening, and I'm sleeping through it. I just don't care. So in order for you to get these success yeses, you need to go through the no's. And the fact that you're telling me you're fearful of being here no is telling me that you haven't done enough of it to overcome that fear. So my suggestion is to go through the no's to get to the yeses. Renee, maybe you can add a couple of, your own ways to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Reza. I know for me, really, when someone tells me that, they don't like to hear no's, I would just say, look, it's not personal. You're taking it more personal than it should be, right? You're simply sharing the business. If someone says no, it's okay. Because, you've heard no's your whole entire life. You've asked your mom for something, they said no. You asked your dad, they said no. You always get no's. And so, but like what Reza said, you have to get to the no's to get the yeses. The only thing that's separating people like me and Reza from others who aren't like us is because we've heard more no's than yeses. We've heard more no's than you guys have. So whereas you might have had 4 no's and quit, we've heard 4,000 no's or 40,000 no's. But you know what? It's like after a while, you just get used to it. and you don't take it personal. So don't take it. The main thing is don't take it personal. It's not about you. They're not saying they hate you or that you're ugly or that you're a bad person. They're just saying no, it's not for them right now. But again, I think that we're all armed with enough information tonight to be able to make sure we don't get those no's anymore. So back to you, Sean.
Thank you very much, Reza. Thank you very much, Renee. Question coming in from Kiwat in Singapore. What if the prospect is someone very intellectual and they say they are interested in a business, but they have used up their financial resources on another business and cannot invest in this one for now?
Well, for me, very simply, if they've used up their financial resources on other businesses, I would say, this business, you can start with as little as $249. It sounds like there's this big deal going on, some other huge deal. Don't tell me you don't have $249 to get started. So that usually is an excuse, I would say, because if you don't have $249, then I don't know what you do with the other business. You really screwed up because you're really tight on money. Try to sell that business or get the money back. But I'm sure you have $249. Otherwise, you'd be on the street somewhere living, eating, I don't know, bumming food from people, right? So they have the money still. So it's not a real excuse. Again, handle the objection, have them see the value, the power of the business, and of course, they have the money. They're just holding out on that. That's all.
Also, if they tell you that they don't have the financial resources, I'll go back to the last objection that Renee was covering on the slide. I tell them, go get the money. If you want to get out of this situation that you have no money to do anything, in order for you to be able to change all of that is this business. And this business, like Renee said, you can get started with very little money. And if you're really serious about changing your life, you can get a lot of money made in a very short time. So go wherever it is, do what you got to do to make sure to come up with the money, get yourself in the system. I can only help you once you're in the system. Until then, there's nothing we can do, so you got to come up with the money. Simple as that. And you know what? People, if they have value for what they see, believe me, they'll come up with the money. I was driving through a low-income area the other day, that's in Canada, and I was shocked to see of every one of these government-supported low-income housing, which their windows are open now because it's summertime, every single one of them have big screen TVs that are as big as the rooms. And you know what? Because they really want this TV, even though they live in a low-income area, somehow they came up with that $2,000 or $1,000 or $1,500 to buy these TVs because they saw value in it, because they're going for dirt cheap now. So this is the same idea. That's a TV that doesn't make you any money. Here, this business can make you money in a very short time. So you need to come up with that money. I tell them straight out, come up with the money so we can start making a lot of money right away. Back to you, Sean.
Thank you very much, gents. Well, you know what? That seems to be all the objections coming in. You know what, you folks, you guys did an incredible job here tonight, especially, too, when you were saying that if they don't think it's for them, maybe they didn't quite, understand the first time we covered their objections. You know what, Reza, Renee, awesome job, ladies and gentlemen. We have these two millionaires here taking us through this tonight. You know what? The rest of the comments, which we had well over 100 lines, and doesn't know how many people were actually on this call here tonight, probably hundreds upon hundreds. You know what, we got so many comments coming in saying great job, great training, people laughing, seeing the objections here. But at the end of the day, Reza, Renee, I'd like to thank you very much. Awesome, powerful training you guys did for us here today. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this session has obviously been recorded, so you can re-listen to it again. And of course, the GWD calendar has all your events coming up. We do have a boot camp coming up on June 8th in Toronto. And of course, we have a power tour and boot camp weekend happening in Montreal on June 14th and 15th. And of course, we've had a power week in St. Lucia, in the Caribbean there, where we've had, of course, our number one income earner, Mr. Reza Mascarlu, and of course, Sean Haynes, our regional ambassador there as well. So there's going to be a lot of news. I'm sure you guys have been seeing on Facebook what's been coming out of there. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, the events calendars where you can find out all your local events, all your regional events. At that, you know what, for everyone on the call here tonight, have yourselves a wonderful, Toronto Boot Camp is on June 15th. So it'll be coinciding with the Montreal Boot Camp. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. The Toronto Boot Camp and Montreal Boot Camp will be on June 15th. Just a couple Saturdays away now. So for everyone on the call, have yourselves a great evening, a great morning, a great afternoon, of course, once again, a powerful business building week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.